And guess who just pulled up? My parents. So we're going to have a little conversation with them. Could you live stream this?
Of course, I got you.
Yeah, this is just a funny coincidence. So we're
got
waiting
that
for a
little,
move.
yeah.
They're going to get out.
I'll show you.
Let's find out. I'm pretending I'm waiting for somebody.
Started back up.
Yes, I know. Here, come this way. I'm on the top. That's just my mom. I guess my dad's not here yet.
No.
That's good though, because I'd rather talk to just my mom. Here, come over this way. Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, did she move? I've got a meeting about my fundraiser concert for the Missouri Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. There's like a co-working space in this building. Yeah, you remember Zoe? She came to that
Hi.
dinner like a year and a half ago.
Hello.
Yeah. That was the weirdest, most uncomfortable, like, I mean, are you?
Yeah,
like,
with Shelly.
Like, Shelly was there, Sam was there, both of them independently came up to me afterward and said, we are never coming back here. Both independently, they both said it. They said that was the weirdest, most tense, like you guys talked the whole time about skiing and your jewelry and your art collection. Like, nobody gives a shit. It wasn't your dinner. But you were showing off. You talked about how expensive your earrings are and how expensive your ski. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That's what you guys do. You only talk about money. It was so weird. Literally, like, I invited Shelly. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to explain. I'm not serious. I invited Shelly over because she was the manager of Peace Note for 10 years. Yes. And she went to culinary arts school and studied plant-based vegan cooking. And, she's starting this business. She just got back from Italy. And I wanted to talk to her about all this stuff. And afterward, we caught up. Right, like when she was leaving, and she's like, yeah, we'll have to have lunch sometime, because I literally couldn't get a word in. Literally the entire time you guys talked about yourselves and skiing. It's not unusual. That's all you ever talk about is yourselves and skiing and money and status and attractiveness. It's true. I mean, I know I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm trying to help you understand. Does that make sense? Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, you are oblivious to this. I know that you don't believe that you do this, but that's the issue. You don't understand that you're doing these things. And I'm not blaming you for that. I'm saying part of the way that your brain is wired is to ignore things that come out of anyone else's mouth but yours. And you have this idea that it's necessary for you to, like, show off to people and, like, demonstrate your value of how much money you have and all the places you've been and how expensive your jewelry is to people. And, like, do you remember this about you started talking about her body with, like, you did. Do you remember this, Pebbles?
Yeah.
You just jumped
Yeah,
in
no, I remember, yeah, but just, like, constantly, like, you were so skinny, I wish I could be so skinny, and I'm like, honestly, it hurts. It hurts.
It's really inappropriate to talk about people's bodies like that. Really, really offensive. Sure, and but what I'm saying is nobody's doubting your intent. The problem is you can be extraordinarily offensive without intending to be, and that's why you have to read the room and pay attention to other people's, reactions to things. And I know that because when they make this face, what they're saying is you're being super inappropriate, but I'm too polite to say anything. And I know that because you go like, oh, I can't talk about that. And like you whisper, like, so you shouldn't be saying it because you're whispering it. Just don't say it at all. I know that It's not a compliment. It's extraordinarily offensive. And I know that your intent is to compliment. But if you want to compliment somebody, compliment their clothes or their hair or their makeup or something that they did or accomplished, not how skinny they are. Don't talk about people's bodies like that. I'm not I'm not trying to make you feel bad. This is just the only reason this came up is because I happened to be here with her and that's the last time we saw each other. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm glad that you're still in counseling. I really am, because you really, really need it. The last time that we were in family therapy together, you just lied to her the whole time. That you said that you're a victim of elder abuse, or dad said that, because he screamed at me every single day, and I finally said, I am not taking this anymore. I will not speak to you at all, period. I will ignore you completely until we're sitting together in an office with a family therapist. And for 3 months that continued because you guys kept like delaying and like procrastinating and making excuses. And then we finally got to therapy and I said, I'm being abused. My dad screams at me every single day. He blames me for everything. He hates me. He treats me like absolute shit. And then dad goes, actually, I think I'm being abused, because you guys have this victim complex and you believe that like everything is like against you. And like, again, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm really glad that you're in therapy. I wish that you would be honest with your therapist. I really did. I know that you can't. I know that the way that you see things, you're the victim, and you're a good person because you're rich, and you're a good person because you're a doctor. It's instead of shaking your head, listen to what I'm saying. I know you better than almost anyone on the whole planet, and I'm telling you that the way that you treat people is horribly unacceptable. All 3 of the people who came over independently came up to me and said, I am never coming back. We can hang out. I am never going to hang out with your parents ever again. Those people treat me like crap. They made me feel poor. You made them feel poor. You made them feel unimportant. You made them feel like nothing that came out of but you don't. Everything that you demonstrate to the way that you interact with people, you talk about your jewelry. That's really inappropriate when you're talking. Like, you have patients on Medicaid. Do not talk about your expensive jewelry to people who are doing GoFundMe fundraisers to pay for their chemo. It's insulting, but you do that. You spend 45 minutes doing it instead of talking to them about their health. Yes, you do. Yes, I do. I've talked to your patients, and they come up to me and be like, I'm doing a GoFundMe to raise money for chemo, and she spent the entire session showing me her jewelry. You do this. I know that you don't like it, and I know that you're in denial about it, but you do. I'm telling you that you do. I've had multiple patients of yours say this to me, that you spend your appointments with them, instead of talking about their cancer, talking about your jewelry. I know that you're in denial about it. I want you to understand, when I say you're in denial and you go, no, that's the denial. Someone who doesn't have narcissistic personality disorder, when someone tells them feedback like this, they say, gosh, I feel terrible. I'm really sorry. I wasn't aware that I was doing that, but I will do better in the future. I feel bad about this. I apologize. Those words are not coming out of your mouth. You're not sorry. You're not going to do better. You're just in denial. All you're doing is saying no, 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 no. But I said you're in denial, and you literally just responded no. That's the denial. And again, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. This is important. I want you to look at me. Part of narcissistic personality disorder, part of the way it works, is that any criticism you take as a personal attack, and you get insulted instead of feeling guilty, because you cannot feel guilt. You can't. You don't feel real contrition. You can't feel it. But you don't. You don't apologize unless someone forces you to apologize. And your apologies are not genuine. You go, I'm sorry, but I didn't know, rather than I'm sorry, I should have known. That's what I'm trying to tell you. People who don't have NPD, when they're criticized, when they receive criticism, thank the person, apologize, and promise to do better. You don't do any of those things when you're criticized. You deny it, and then you think that the other person is being mean. It's Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. That's what you do. This is textbook narcissistic personality disorder. Textbook NPD. You have it. You have NPD. So does Dad. Narcissists commonly marry each other because they only care about status, money, physical attractiveness. That's it. They cannot feel real emotions except for fear, disgust, and anger. That's it. Those are the only real feelings that you have. It's not your fault. You were traumatized when you were a toddler. No, listen, this is important. You were traumatized. You regress to toddler behavior when you're upset because you never learned to process your shame. You never learned to how self-reflection. You lack the capacity for insight as a skill. And it's something you can learn. You can learn to be more compassionate, but you won't. You're going to walk away from this and you're going to think that I'm attacking you and that I'm wrong and that you're actually good and you didn't do anything wrong, even though 3 people independently told me I'm never coming back there because of you guys screaming at each other in the kitchen and talking about their bodies and talking about your jewelry and talking about skiing when you weren't even hosting. Like Dad sat at the head of the table like, I'm the king of this dinner. It wasn't your dinner. You were invited. But like I set it up, I invited everybody, I did the guest list, I cooked, you were just a guest, and you guys spent the whole time, like nobody got a word in. Like they each independently afterwards said, I didn't get to say anything. Like I didn't even get to open my mouth because you guys spent the whole time talking about jewelry and skiing. That's NPD. You care about status and money and showing off. That's, people with NPD care a lot about how they're perceived. And they have this deep insecurity, this sense of deep shame that people will find out that this is a mask, that this isn't really who you are, that when people aren't watching, when people aren't around, you roll your eyes, you become cruel, you call me nasty, you call me names, you deny that you're doing anything wrong, and when I tell you that you're doing it, you go, no! That's what you do though. I'm telling you that, and you don't do it in front of other people, so I know that you can control it. And I know that you know that it's wrong because you don't do it when other people are around. This mask that you're wearing right now where you're pretending to be a kind, decent person instead of screaming at me, which was what you would do if she wasn't here. By the way, we're live streaming this whole thing. This is on YouTube right now, going out to 100,000 people. It's been doing it the whole time. The reason I'm doing it, the reason I am, is so that you keep your mask on. That's why. I don't want you to do this Darvo thing and scream at me, which is what you would be doing if you weren't in front of them. That's the mask. People with NPD, people with NPD aren't the only people who mask. People with autism also mask. They have meltdowns in private because they know they can control it, but you're masking. You're pretending to be a kind, decent, warm person who can listen and has compassion, but this is really who you are. Underneath, you're angry and you're disgusted what I'm saying, but that's because you can't do the insight part. You can't look at yourself and say what I'm doing is wrong and I feel bad and I should apologize. You don't feel bad. You say what I'm saying is incorrect and I'm being mean, right? And you feel like it's an attack. You feel like I'm attacking you by offering you criticism. I know that you know better because you can act like you're acting right now. You can do it. You can act like a decent person. You can listen. You can listen to me without rolling your eyes. I have OCD. I used to count how many times a day you rolled your eyes at me. 100 times every day. Every day, 100 times you would roll your eyes at me. I stopped counting at 100. I don't know why. It's not like anything happens at 100. It's just an OCD thing. But like, when you, I want you to understand something. Ava once said this to me. She said, look, I'm your mom. And I was like, wow, I have literally never seen you roll your eyes ever in my life, Ava. I've never seen her do it. And it was shocking. I was like, that's so rude. And she does it 100 times a day. And you know that it's rude because you don't do it in front of other people. You don't do it when Zoe's here. You don't do it when you're on live stream. You only do it when you know you can get away with it. That's the mask. That's NPD. You both have it. Only 3 to 5% of people with NPD are ever diagnosed. It is as prevalent as clinical depression. 1/3 of people have NPD. 1/3. But only 3 to 5% ever get diagnosed because they never seek help. They think that if a therapist tells them you have NPD, they go, you're a quack, and they never come back. People with NPD are in denial about their condition. And the only time they're ever diagnosed, the ones who are, is because they're forced into therapy, like I forced you guys into therapy. I made an ultimatum. Or if they're there for some other reason, like marriage counseling or substance abuse. Those are the only people who ever get diagnosed, and they never get better. They cannot get better. They can't. Because you're going to walk away from this and you're going to think that I'm an asshole rather than there's something wrong with you, because you cannot process the concept that there's something wrong with you. Like, I know that you're absorbing this, but you're going to deny it later. I know how this works. This is not the first time we've had this conversation. This isn't the first time I've told you all 3 of those people independently told me they're never coming back. And I know you feel bad, but this is right now what you're demonstrating. This, oh, I know, it's terrible. That is called cognitive empathy. It's not genuine empathy. You don't actually feel bad. What you're feeling right now is shame, which is very different from guilt. Guilt is something that you feel internally when no one else is there about bad things that you've done. Shame is when other people putting public pressure on you for bad things that you've done. They're not the same thing. You lack the capacity to feel genuine guilt. You don't feel bad about the things that you do. You only feel bad when you're caught doing them. It's not right. It's very wrong. But it is, and you are in denial about it because you have NPD and you cannot process that I might be correct about this. You can't process it. That's the NPD. It's denial. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm telling you these things so that you can try to change them, but you won't. You can't. And people with NPD don't get better. They only get worse. As they get more powerful, as they get richer, and as they learn what they can get away with, and they get better at manipulation, they only get worse. It's really sad. I would love to have a genuine relationship with both of you, but I can't because you are we never had a real relationship. We never did. It's only masking. It's only masking. I want to ask you a serious question. Andrew is 4. I've seen you scream at him. I've seen Dad scream at him. Like, literally, you have to eat your vegetables! Like that. Literally scream at him about food. I pulled Dad aside and I said, Dad, you cannot scream at a toddler. Ever. Ever. There is one exception. If he is 50 feet away and running into the street. That is it. If the house is on fire, there is no reason you should ever yell at him about vegetables. You are traumatizing him. And to his credit, 2 weeks later, he bought a book called Parenting Without Yelling. And I saw him reading it, and I congratulated him and praised him for this. I was like, you actually listened. And he goes, yeah, I did notice that I was yelling at him. He didn't apologize to me. He didn't thank me. He didn't admit that he was wrong. He can't do those things. He can't. He cannot process the fact that he's done something wrong. All he said was, you're right, I was doing that. That's it. No apology, no thanking me at all. But he knows it's wrong. And I know that he knows it's wrong because he doesn't do it when other people are around. And he doesn't do it when he's in public. I know that you know this behavior is unacceptable. The reason that I asked Zoe to come over here with me is because I wanted you to keep your mask on. Let me give you another example. I saw that you're wearing hearing aids. I'm really proud of you for getting them. You've needed them for years. You made excuses for 3 years about the pandemic. And I overheard you talking to Dad and making excuses about this. About how, there's a pandemic. I mean, yes, I go out to restaurants all the time, but I can't get hearing aids because there's a pandemic and I have to wait. It's nonsense. It's an excuse. But the point is, this was the same day, November 22nd, the same day that Dad injured me and I fled to a hotel. You were complaining about this. Dad was complaining about this, about you not being able to hear. And you made this excuse about how you don't have time to make an appointment. You don't have time to call. Which is obviously an excuse. Of course you have time to make a phone call. So I said, I'm going to call right now and make an appointment. And I did. I got screamed at by you for 10 straight minutes. I recorded it. I have 100+ hours of you both screaming at each other, screaming at me, throwing things. I know that you know it's wrong. I know that you know this because you don't do it when other people are around. You used to stop screaming when I recorded. You used to, and then you realized, wait, that's just a phone app. That's not gonna stop me. And then you know, I know that you know this. I know that you do because you don't do it when other people are around. Just act like that all the time. You know? I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I know that you do feel bad. I know that you're mad right now and that you're not actually sorry about this, that you just think that I'm being a bully. I'm not being a bully. I'm just telling you what you're doing is inappropriate and hurtful. Of course, talk, please. I'm not, you know. Come here. We're talking. Yeah, she said they moved. I'm here for a meeting that's, well, I've got half an hour actually, but we're going to have lunch first. But we're talking about this. Are we meeting next week with the attorneys? That's the plan. Well, we haven't set up a date yet because Josh was out of town, but we need to do this month. I'm filing suit on Thursday the 1st unless we settle first. I mean, I'm ready to go. I'm waiting. I haven't done all of the things that I'm talking about, this fundraiser show. That's the meeting I'm here for. Is this fundraiser concert, this one woman show. That's why well, that's what I'm asking. Are we meeting next week? Do you want to meet next week? I'm asking you. Is that okay? Josh is out of town right now. That's why we're not meeting this week. But I'd like to meet with you next week and work this out. Can we do that? Can we meet next week? I don't know. We talk to Josh. Well, okay. I'm asking you. Can we do that? Can you talk to Josh and meet with me next week? We'll meet with Josh. Yeah. Okay. We'll do this next week.
I'll see what
I want you to bring the settlement money with you. You offered $10,400. Bring it with you. I'm serious. I want you to bring it because I know that you're going to agree and then not pay. I wanted to ask you something. No, can I ask you this? I had to take Hermione to the vet. It's $180. I had to borrow that money. I also have to buy her food. She has to have special food now that's $120 a month that I do not have. It's prescription food. She's got renal issues. She's 19. It's $300. It's not for me. It's for Hermione. She lived with you for 18 years. Can you please do this to take care of her? Do you have money on you? That's what I'm asking. Well, it would help. It's not for me. It's for the cat. Do you have some? This is for Hermione. It's not for me. It's for Hermione for the vet. I appreciate this. It's not for me, you know, even if you don't want to help me, and I understand that because of the lawsuit that you don't want to, but it's not for me. There's 300. You have more than $20. You can go to the ATM after you leave here. You're not going to need cash right now. Can you just do this? I mean, I know that I can see that you've got more than that. Well, does Dad have cash? It's for Hermione's vet appointment. It's for Hermione's vet appointment, like I was saying. I mean, I suddenly have this responsibility of paying for all this stuff for the cat, you know? Do you have more than that? Like I said, it was $300. That 60 is actually not enough, literally. That's what I was literally just saying. We'll meet next week, okay? Next week, we're going to do this and figure this out. Thank you for doing that. Mm-hmm. Is it still streaming? Yeah. We're going to end the stream now. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And, yeah, I appreciate it. So we're gonna do this.